Stand on your mat in mountain pose. Place your feet hip-width apart and parallel with each other. Stand tall, directing your gaze forward and down to establish a focal point that will help you balance. Breathing steadily, shift your weight to one leg, pressing down through the foot. Imagine the roots. And pull up on the inner thigh. A steady breathing rhythm, especially stable exhalations, will also help your balance. Now bring the heel of the other leg to rest on your ankle with your toes on the floor for tree pose. Stretch your arms wide. If you find balancing here is a challenge, this is your pose. If you feel able to challenge your balance more, raise the foot. Holding it can help. And put the sole of the foot on the calf or inner thigh. Once your foot is in place, press it and the thigh together to stabilize your position and stretch your arms wide. Relax your shoulders as you lift the side body. Breathing in, bring your arms slightly forward. And breathing out, take them by your ears, reaching to the ceiling. Can you bring your knee back? Inhale, release, bringing your palms together at your chest. And exhale as you step back to mountain pose. Shift your weight to the other foot. Pressing down through that foot to ground your pose and lift the inner thigh. Remember, a steady breathing rhythm, especially stable exhalations, help firm the core and steady your balance. Use your gaze as well. Now bring the heel of the other leg to rest on your ankle with your toes on the floor. And stretch your arms wide. If you're able to, lift the foot higher, placing it on the calf or inner thigh, and pressing the foot and thigh together to stabilize your position. As you steady your core, you can let go of any tension you're holding in your shoulders, allowing the upper body to be light. Breathing in, bring your arms slightly forward. And breathing out, take them by your ears, actively reaching to the ceiling. Can you bring your knee back? Inhale, bringing the palms together at the chest. And exhale, returning to mountain pose. Step your feet apart and extend your arms. Position your feet wrist width apart, though you should shorten the stance if your legs feel strained. Now hold your hips. Relax your hips and rotate your right leg 90 degrees out, so your center thigh, knee, and toes face the end of the mat. Letting the hips relax and float allows them to turn to the right slightly if that is needed to rotate the legs sufficiently. It probably is needed. Turn your left toes slightly to the right and align your heels with one another. Now extend your right arm by your ear and take a moment to cultivate the roots of this pose by pressing the left foot firmly to the mat. Breathe in. Shift your hips towards the back of your mat, and breathing out, reach way out over the leg, bringing your hand to a block, the foot, or by the toes. Keep your knees straight. Continue to turn your right thigh out to protect the knee and lower back. Deepen your side bend and align your torso with your right leg. Press down through your hand. The chest responds by lifting away from the floor and begins to rotate left. Exhale and pull the left shoulder back, turning your head to gaze up if your neck allows. Exhale again, reaching to the ceiling with the left arm. Breathe steadily and use the arms to energize the upper body. Inhale, release the pose, and exhaling, draw the belly slightly in to come up to stand. Hold your hips and turn your left leg 90 degrees to the left, right foot to the left just a bit. Line your heels up for steadier balance. Relax and float your hips, allowing them to follow the rotation of the left leg. Extend your left arm by your ear and ground the pose by pressing the right foot firmly to the mat. Inhale, shift your hips towards the back of your mat, and exhale, reach out over your leg, bringing your hand to a block, the foot, or by the toes. Continue to rotate your left thigh out as you press down with the hand. Feel the chest respond by lifting away from the floor and turning toward the ceiling. Exhale, pull the right shoulder back, turning the head to gaze up if your neck allows. Now reach to the ceiling with the right arm. Breathing steadily, use the arms to energize the upper body. Inhale, begin to stand. And exhale, draw the belly slightly in to come all the way up and turn the feet parallel. Stand with your feet parallel, keeping the wide stance, and hold your hips. Bring awareness to your feet. They are as active as in mountain pose, balancing the weight between the base of the big and little toe and the center of each heel. Practicing standing poses establishes a strong foundation for all other asanas. For wide legs, standing forward bend pose, inhale, and hinge forward from the hips, keeping the back long. And place your fingers or palms on the floor in line with the shoulders. If you're unable to touch the floor with a long front body, place your hands on blocks. Press down with your hands to lift the chest. Also lift the sit bones, being careful not to overdo it. You want to avoid a sway back. Focus on an equally long front and back body. Hold this pose for several breaths. Or if you're ready, deepen the pose by reaching out and holding your ankles. Exhale, and from the hips, hinge deeper, pulling in on the ankles while bending the elbows wide to broaden the chest and upper back. Keep the breath steady. Long exhalations. If you're quite flexible, your head may come onto or near the floor. However, keeping a long spine with no more than a gentle curve is important. Remember your mountain pose feet and lift your inner thighs. Holding your hips, inhale and begin to stand. Exhale and draw the belly to the back to stand upright and step your feet together. Sit on a folded blanket in easy pose. With your right ankle crossed in front of the left, slide your feet under the knees. If you cannot sit upright, add a second blanket under your hips. And if your knees are uncomfortable, place a prop under your legs. Now hold your right knee with your left hand, placing the right hand on the floor behind you. Take a moment to steady your breathing and to balance the weight evenly between your hips. Relax the upper belly and exhaling, press down through your hands, rotating your upper body to the right. Turn your head to the left, gazing at your knee. Check in with your breathing and keep it steady, even if that means backing away slightly from your spinal twist. Inhale, release, and return to center. Change your crossed legs, bringing the left ankle in front of the right, feet under the knees, propping up the knees if you need to. Hold your left knee with your right hand and place the left hand on the floor behind you. Take a moment to balance the weight between the hips. Exhaling, press down with your hands and rotate your upper body to the left, while turning your head to the right and gazing at the knee. Let your breath massage the middle back to undo congestion in that area and allowing you to introduce greater rotation in your upper back without disturbing the belly and hips. Inhale, release, and exhale, return to center. Sit on one or two folded blankets in easy pose, with your right ankle crossed in front of the left and sliding your feet under your knees. Place your left hand on the floor about a foot from the side of the hips. Inhale your right arm forward and exhale as you extend the arm overhead. Keeping your right hip on the blanket, bend from the ribs, reaching to the left as far as possible into easy side bend pose. Keep the right arm straight. If you can move the hand further away from the hips, it will increase the side bend. Hold this pose for 3 or 4 steady breaths, letting each exhalation help you bend further. Inhale to release and center yourself in easy pose. For the other side, sit with your left ankle in front of the right. Feet under knees. Bring your right hand to the floor about a foot to the outside of the hips. Breathing in, bring your left arm forward and breathe out as you extend it overhead. Keep your left hip on the blanket and your arms straight. And exhaling, bend from the ribs, reaching as far to the right as possible. Move the right hand further to the side to increase the side bend, remembering to keep your hip grounded. Inhale to release, returning to easy pose. Sit on a folded blanket with your knees bent and feet on the floor. Cradling your left knee, shift the leg to the right, bringing the foot to the outside of the right hip and the left knee centered on the floor. Step the right foot over the left knee, pressing it into the floor. If this is uncomfortable for the left knee, you can do this pose with the legs straight. You can also do this spinal twist, half Lord of the Fishes pose, with your right foot to the inside of the knee. Now hold your knee, and keeping the spine tall, exhale, pressing the right sit bone firmly down to balance the weight between the hips and to center the spine. You can either cradle your right knee or press the left elbow or arm against the outer right knee to lock the spinal rotation into place while pushing the right hand into the floor behind your back. Steady breathing in a twist is key. It will help your muscles to relax and adapt to the twist. Keeping your right hip firmly down, broaden your chest. And as you breathe out, pull your right side ribs into your back to deepen the twist. Now turn your head left, gazing down at the foot. Inhale, release. Bring the feet back to the floor. Let's do the other side. Holding your knee, shift your right leg to the left, bringing the foot to the outside of the left hip and centering the knee on the floor. Step the left foot over the right knee, pressing it firmly down. If you modified the pose on the first side, you may need to modify it on this side as well. Hold the knee and keeping the spine tall. Exhale, pressing the left sit bone firmly down to balance the hips and bring the spine to the midline of the pose. Either cradle your knee or press the right elbow or arm against the outer knee to secure the spinal rotation. Press the left hand to the floor behind the back. Check in with your breath. Feel how steady breathing massages your muscles, allowing the rotation to more deeply stimulate the soft tissue of the spine. Keeping the left hip firmly rooted, broaden your chest and exhale to pull your left upper ribs into the back to deepen the twist. Gently turn your head to the right, gazing at the foot. Inhale, release. Bring the feet back to the floor. Take your feet wide apart, centering your weight on the back of each heel with straight knees. Narrow the distance between your feet if your knees hurt or if you can't straighten them. Now press your hands into the floor behind your back, feeling the back body become firm and tall. Use the pressure of the hands to try and tip the navel forward to straighten your back. If this is easy, place your hands in front of the hips. Do not hurry this process. Progress in this pose comes very slowly for most of us. Keeping the front body as long as the back is essential at this point. If your flexibility allows, you can walk your hands further forward, perhaps bringing your elbows to the floor. Once your elbows are on the floor, your back rounds very slightly. If you are still on straight arms, or your hands are behind you, continue to move the navel forward. It is important to remember that yoga does not depend on how far forward you are bending. Yoga happens at the point where you're at your edge, where if you push too far forward, you will lose a balance, feeling only strain. But if you back away, you'll never expand and challenge your edges. Yoga exists between those two extremes. Flow with your breath and find contentment where you are today. Inhale to sit upright, and exhaling, bring your legs together. Lie on your back with a blanket under head and a strap nearby. Hold your right knee, and inhaling, extend your left leg up. Exhale as you slowly lower it to the floor. Keep the left leg active, trying to make the back leg longer than the front. Pull it out of the back hip, like you're sliding out a drawer. Now put the strap around the ball of your right foot. And exhaling, straighten the leg by pressing the foot against the strap. Start with your leg perpendicular to the floor. Hold the strap with straight arms to take advantage of passive traction from the shoulders. And looping the strap around the hands may also be more comfortable in holding. Remembering to keep your left leg active, exhale and press your sacrum firmly to the mat. If you feel it's the waist pushing the mat, bend your knee until you can shift the weight to the sacrum. You maximize the benefits of this pose, reclining big toe pose, by holding it for at least 90 seconds to allow the muscles to adapt to lengthening. A steady breath with a relaxing exhalation will also help. If your knee is bent, see if you're now able to straighten it. And if your knee is already straight, can you push the strap overhead a bit? Progress will be slow, but with practice you'll see results. As your flexibility increases, you may be able to flex the hip deeply enough that your thigh presses the belly. When you reach that point, and it may take years, the waist will gently press the mat. Inhale, release, and hold your left knee. Extend your right leg up, and exhale as you slowly lower it to the floor. Keep the leg active, trying to make the back leg longer than the front. Imagine the leg begins in the upper belly. Now put your strap around the ball of your left foot, and pushing the foot into the strap, straighten the leg perpendicular to the floor. Hold the strap with straight arms to feel the weight of your shoulders, giving passive traction. Remember to keep your right leg active as you now exhale and press your sacrum firmly to the mat. Again, if you feel you have more weight in the small of the back, bend your knee so you can shift the weight towards the hips. The back of the waist will barely touch the floor. Keep your breathing steady as you hold this stretch long enough for the muscles to adapt to lengthening. And keep the legs active. You may find that if you bend your knee slightly and then re-straighten it, it helps the muscles adapt more quickly. You can do that several times. If your knee is bent, see if you can now straighten it. If your knee is straight, can you deepen the forward bend? Inhale, release, and rest in constructive rest. Extending your arms by your sides with your palms turned in. Raise your arms a few inches off the floor, and exhaling, actively reach towards your feet, sliding your shoulder blades away from your ears. Breathe in, bring your chin to your chest, and breathing out, press the navel to the floor and round as many ribs off the floor as possible. Hold half boat pose for about 3 breaths, using each out breath to press the navel to the back body. Inhale to release. Exhale to constructive rest. If your back pressed uncomfortably into the floor, put a blanket under you before doing the pose a second time. So, stretch the arms forward again. Inhale, chin to chest. Exhaling, curl your ribs off the floor and press the navel to the mat. If you feel ready for more challenge, exhale and straighten your right leg, bringing the toes to eye level. As you do this, keep your navel pinned to the mat. If your lower back lifts, it's too much for you, so put the foot on the floor. Otherwise, exhale and straighten the left leg by the right. Again, if your lower back lifts off the floor, put the foot down. Don't strain, keep the breath steady. Inhale, release, and exhale, hug your knees. With a block within reach, lie on your back in constructive rest for bridge shoulder stand pose. Lift your hips and put the block across your sacrum. You have a choice for height. Either lay it flat, on its side, or on the tall end. Choose the highest lift that's comfortable for your back. Then place your feet hip-width apart, knees over ankles, with your arms resting at your sides. Let your breath relax and allow your hips and lower back to relax as well. As you try to do this, you may become aware of gripping in the lower back and glutes that you didn't realize you had. Trust the support of the block and try to let the muscles relax. Just let go. Now bend your elbows by the ribs with your forearms perpendicular to the mat. Exhale and gently press the back of your skull and elbows down. Action that lifts the ribs away from the floor. Enhance the lift further by consciously lifting the breastbone away from the throat and the side and back ribs out of the shoulders. Each breath in expands the chest. Each breath out launches the ribs a bit more. This pose, practiced regularly, stabilizes the upper back and can improve your posture. Now remove the block, lie on your back and hold your knees, pressing the whole back to the floor. Begin in bridge shoulder stand with the sacrum supported on a block. You can lay the block flat, on its side, or on end. This back bend is the basis for the important finishing pose, supported shoulder stand. Shoulder stand tones the upper airways as well as the glands in the neck and chest. It continues the active strengthening of the upper back and improved posture that is the work of bridge pose. It also improves circulation, promotes calm, and reduces stress. It's an all-around wonderful pose. The essential action in supported shoulder stand is the stimulation to the throat and upper chest, and to do so creating sufficient spinal extension that the neck is off the floor. Supporting the pose on a block positions the hips over the elbows, allowing more space to feel the act of stabilizing the neck and without compromising the benefits of the pose. Avoid shoulder stand if you have neck injury, osteoporosis, or cervical stenosis. For any of these conditions, practice legs up the wall pose, which offers many of the same benefits. Either join your hands beyond your block or bend the elbows at your sides. Steady your breathing with awareness of a spacious throat and quiet face. Inhale and gently expand your chest. Exhale, pressing the elbows and the back skull to the floor. They form the roots of the pose. Notice how grounding the elbows and skull triggers a response in the upper body that lifts the neck and ribs away from the mat. Explore this action again. Inhale, open the chest, and exhale as you press down gently with elbows and the back of your skull. Enhance the response by lifting the chest away from the throat, the side ribs out of the armpits, and the muscles of the upper back away from the floor. This lift is actively maintained throughout the pose, but do it gently. Trying too hard will simply cause strain. Press down with the roots again and exhale to float the legs over the hips, coming into supported shoulder stand. If you feel unsteady on the block, support your sacrum on 1 to 3 blocks stacked flat for greater stability. If your hips are tight, your legs may not float easily, so bend your knees. Though supported, stay active and engaged with the process of rooting the elbows and back skull and the gentle launching of the ribs off the floor. This keeps the pose active and maintains a sense of the backbend quality of this inversion. And it builds the stability to eventually elevate the hips higher and support your pose with your hands. I encourage you to be patient about using the hands for support. To do so is significantly more challenging. It can cause strain to your neck, and it can interfere with the benefits of the pose. Holding active shoulder stand on blocks for about 3 minutes is sufficient to enjoy the many wonderful benefits of this pose. To come out of shoulder stand, place your feet on the floor, slide the block away, and lying on your back, hold your knees. For Shavasana, lie on your mat. Making yourself comfortable and warm. You may relax more deeply by putting a rolled blanket under your thighs, a lift under your head, or covering yourself with a blanket. An eye bag or simply a folded washcloth across your eyes may also help you relax more deeply. Of course, you may find you can relax quite well without any props at all. Once you're settled, close your eyes and bring your attention to the belly. Simply allowing the rhythm of your breath to soothe away any tension that may dwell there. In doing so, you may become aware of holdings you didn't know you had. Let the breath's gentle massage help soften and undo all feelings of stress and tension. The belly becomes deep and calm. Radiating calm and fluid energy that flows down the legs and out the feet. Up the spine and out the arms and legs. Let the face soften. And the eyes become as deep and calm as the belly. Slowly become aware of your surroundings. Stretch your right arm and your left leg. Your left arm and your right leg. And roll to your side, resting your head on your arm. Now come up to sit and bring your palms together at your chest.